Welcome back, everyone. Great to be with you. Another exciting opportunity to connect to the Zohar together. Today being the ninth day of Nisan, the energy of Kislev, energy of Sagittarius, energy of miracles, energy, energy of the light of the Ora Ganuz, which is also the light of Chanukah, which is the light of the Zohar. So very exciting to get to be making this connection together. Let's awaken deep appreciation for the time that we live in, and the time of the Zohar has been revealed, light of the Zohar has been revealed, accessing this great light, transforming our consciousness, revealing endless light in the world, awakening more love. With the prayer of the Ari, let's share our screen so you can see that. Here we go. Okay. ריבון העולמים ואדוני אדוני מהבך ומזכול בני ונך ונך אדוני אלוהינו ונבזנו מקידהו ושתך ושקרתנו לתורתך ולעבודתך ולעבודת הקודש ונתת לנו חלק מזדות תורתך הקדושה ואנו מכנים שעשיתי בנו חסד גדול כזה הכן אנחנו מעפילים תחננו לפניך שבכל ותסלח כל חטאותינו ועוונותינו ואל תהיו עוונותינו מבדילים בינינו לבניך וכן יעזור בניך אדוני אלוהינו ולבתינו שתכונן את לבבינו ליראתך ולאהבתך ותגשים אוזנך להתרענן לפצעתך ולאלוהי בסודות תורתך ויהי למדין בזה נחת רוח לפני חסך ואחר כך ניחוח ותציל עלינו עומק כל נשמתנו וכל בחינתנו ושיתנוצצו ניצוצות בדרך הקדושים אשר הייתם כדי לדבריך לבעולם וזכותם וזכות אבותם וזכות תורתם ותמיתם וקשתם יעמוד לנו ולנו יושב לדברים אלו בזכותם תרננו ומה שאנו נזים כמאמר נעים זמירות ישראל גל עיניו והביט עיניו מתורתך כי אדוני ייתן חוכמה מפיו דעת ותבונה יהי רצוננו מפיו הגן לפניך אדוני שבגואלי. So here we go. This is our final study of the week. And this is also the last time before the clocks change here. So if on March 9th class was different for you on the Eastern time zone and the Pacific time zone in the United States, now we'll kind of be back on your normal schedule. We're now doing class 6 a.m. BST. Okay, so apply that to your own time zone. So class might be a different time for you next week, back to normal. Okay, so let's go back into the Zohar paragraph 186. And I realized right after class that I didn't actually properly explain um, what the Zohar was saying about what fall the brothers um, Er and Onan, what they did. We mentioned that they wasted their seed, but we didn't explain too much about that. So we'll just take a minute to just explain, because the Zohar says that a person who wastes their seed, they don't see the Creator, they lose their portion in the world to come, etc. And we didn't explain the spiritual ramifications of that. We're not going to go into all of it, but basically, if we can understand that what the closest thing to the divine creative energy in this world is a person's seed, because it literally can help create life. And when a person wastes that, as the Kabbalists teach, what actually happens, it's not that the creator doesn't, want to connect with them, so they don't connect with the creator, they're blocked off. What happens is the Kabbalists say that it's one of the deepest, most intense disconnections of consciousness, because something that is meant to bring life and light into the world, um, instead, because it's pure light, divine light of the Creator, and it doesn't have a vessel, light without a vessel goes to the klipot. So what Er and Onan were doing, they were Er was supposed to have righteous children with his wife Tamar. He didn't want to. Um, he didn't want to get her pregnant because he didn't want her to lose her form or her beauty. So he intentionally wasted his seed. And it's not that the creator said, "Oh, you're evil, I'm going to kill you." It's the person, because of the klipot negativity that he created through his actions. It disconnected him from life. Onan had the responsibility to help reincarnate his brother, and he chose to do the same thing. And that also disconnected him from life. It's not that the Creator was upset with him. It's just when a person is too consumed by their selfishness, the selfishness left column is what removes the light. It's what separates from the source of life. So that's why the Kabbalists say that actually it's why is it one of the most difficult things to correct, and why is it so hard to take back those sparks of light? Because that's what teshuvah is. Because it's so deep in the consciousness that it affects a person, because it has to do with specifically with that and the consciousness of the person. That's why it has such um, that negative action has such ramifications as the Zohar was mentioning. So we'll explain a bit more, but now going back to our discussion, we were saying in paragraph 184 and 185 the importance of educating your children, directing your children in the way of the light. And the Zohar now brings Abraham as an example. About Abraham, it says, it says about Abraham, I have singled him out that he may instruct his children and his posterity to keep in the way of God by doing what is just and right. Abraham taught his children, and his children are not just Isaac and his physical descendants, but it represents everyone that comes after him. Everyone who comes after him. Means all of the children of Israel, all of Jacob's children, all of the Israelites. And actually, Abraham is also right. Abraham actually ends up being the father of all religion, right? Because and not just religion, right? But from Abraham comes the path of course, through Ishmael is Islam, through Isaac and Jacob comes Judaism and Christianity. So all the main religions of the world, without let's say their negative aspects, because all religions have negative aspects. But if they're pure aspect of the connection to the Creator, which all three have, it all goes back to Abraham, right? So Abraham was teaching his children how to connect to the light, how to connect to the Creator. He was transferring to his children the concept of chesed, because chesed, mercy, kindness, love, olam chesed yibaneh. The world is built upon mercy. The world is sustained by mercy. And therefore, this merit of educating your children, of putting them on the path of Abraham, which is mercy, teaching your children certainty and mercy, like the Creator. That merit stands for that person and protects them, stands against all forces of judgment and all the accusers of judgment in the spiritual realm. 187. And therefore, in the verse when it says, "Baboker uzarat zarecha v'la'erev al tanach yadecha yadecha afilu b'yom," it says, "Sow your seed in the morning. Don't hold back your hand in the evening." Afilu b'yom dezikna. Even in your older age, that is called evening, right? So the morning is called your youth, and the evening is called older age. The yuzimna deceive banash. When a person gets older, when a person ages, maktiv. What does it say? Al tanach yadecha. Do not withhold your hand. La yishbok mil olada beha'alma. Even if a person has children, or they don't and they're old, it doesn't mean you shouldn't have children. As long as you can. It's good to have children. My Talmud, what's the reason? A person can never know which of their children will prosper, which of their children will actually help change this world, which of their children will be connected to light. And he doesn't know which of his children will actually also protect his soul in the world to come. Right? I mean, some of the most important people in the world, some of the people who changed the world the most, were not always planned, right? Because the Creator has a bigger plan. So the Zohar is saying that even in your older age, even if you have children, even if you know, you've already, ticked that box. The Zohar says sometimes it's good to keep going because you never know what soul you might be responsible for drawing into this world. That's also like, for example, Rabbi Chaim Vital's son, Rabbi Shmuel Vital. He was way later in Rabbi Chaim Vital's life. Uh, many, many examples of different great tzaddikim and also just great people in the world who were towards their parents' end of their lives. 188. V'alda, Ktiv, and therefore it says, Hineh nachalat Hashem banim. It says in Psalm 127, verse 3, sons are the provision of God. Sons, children are the inheritance, nachalat Hashem, the inheritance of God. This represents the bundle of life of souls, the souls the root of souls in the spiritual realm. Sida de alma date ulahai nacha. They that's what it says. Where does this concept of bundle of soul comes from? In the book of Samuel it says Vaytan nefesh adonit sul the life of my Lord will be bound up in the bundle of life. And this is one of the things that when a person passes away, one of the things we wish for the soul is for any of you who've seen on Jewish graves, there's these 5 letters, Taf Nun Taf Nun Sadi Bet Hey. It stands for Tiyeh Nishmato or Nishmata Tzura B'Tzorach Chaim. That may his soul be based on this verse, may his soul be bound up in the bundle of life, which means may their soul return back to the source of souls. Siddha Amadate Ulahai represents the aspect of the world to come, of the spiritual realm, and that's why it's called inheritance, right? That's what children are, connected back to that bundle of souls. Whoever merits to bring, who inherits, who merits to bring someone back to the bundle of souls, restore them back to their source, connect them to endless life, which is this inheritance of the Creator. Banim, it's someone's children. Inun binin, just as the verse says, this verse, sorry. Hineh nachalat Hashem banim. What is the inheritance of God? Children. Go back here. Go. Inun binin, these are the children. Zachan leila nachalat Hashem. They cause a person to merit the inheritance of the Creator, which means a connection to the spiritual realm. Va'ada zaka'a hahu ba'anash. Therefore, happy is the person. Happy is the person who merits to teach their children the ways of the Torah, meaning to connect to the light, to draw, to continue in the ways of chesed, of mercy, of Abraham, as it says. Okay, so that's this chapter, and now we're going to the next chapter. I want to mention also, before we continue to this next chapter, we want to also meditate. In chapter 17 was all about last few chapters, but especially last chapter, about having the merit of bringing children into the world. While we said it means many things as well, other ways of bringing that light into the world. Of course, the Zohar is also saying it in a literal way. So if there is anyone that we know who desires this merit of children and hasn't merited it yet, we can also pray for them and send them this energy that they'll have that merit to bring this light in the world that they're supposed to in this lifetime. So to send them this light, if anyone you know needs this energy, if anyone needs this miracle, if someone needs a soulmate, and then children, meditate for that as well. We're sending all the souls who need their other half and children in the world. That's one of the reasons why, for example, Rabbi Yonatan ben Uziel, who is the master of soulmates and relationships, he's also, because he never had children in this world. So that's why his soul made that promise that he will do everything he can to help everyone find their soulmate, not just for soulmates, but really for the sake of bringing children to this world. That's why Rabbeinu Tam Ben Uziel is known for soulmates. It's really to bring children. So let's send everyone who needs that blessing and merit um, light from this Zohar we just studied. Okay, chapter 18. And she put off her widow's garment. Okay, now we're going to start to go into the story of Yehuda, Judah, and his sons, and the whole process of Tamar in more detail. So we have this little chart to kind of get us all on the same page, just in case we haven't been following. So Yehuda, right, Jacob's fourth son, he had three sons, Onan, and Shelah. Okay, initially he had three sons. Grew up, and it was time for him to get married. He met a nice girl named Tamar. They got married. Now, Tamar, as we said, was a very, very elevated soul. Tamar is the daughter of Shem. Shem is the son of Noah. So I don't know how old she was, but she was the daughter of Shem. Shem was Shem and Ever. Shem and his grandson or great grandson. They were uh, they were considered. Shem was considered like a high priest. There's different places in relation in interactions between Shem and Abraham, and Shem and Ever were teachers of Isaac and Jacob. So Tamar is his daughter. So marries Tamar, and we said they were supposed to bring righteous children to the world, really the souls of Mashiach into the world. But refused to take that responsibility. He wasted his seed, and was no more. So Yehuda told Onan, time to marry Tamar, time to help your soul reincarnate, time to bring these souls into the world. And then we know Onan also was no more. So it was time for the third brother, Shelah, to marry Tamar. But it never happened because Judah told Tamar, look, Shelah is still kind of young. Let's wait a bit. When he gets older, then I'll call you. In the meantime, go back to your family. And when he gets older, then you guys will get married. Yudah didn't have, I don't think, he had that intention in mind, because Aaron Onan, it says that if a woman marries someone and he dies, and then marries someone else, doesn't have to be the brother, marries someone else and he also dies, you don't want to be the third, right? Meaning, it's like if someone was a widow twice, don't make her a widow the third time. Maybe there's something connected to her soul that affects the person she's married to, so it's probably not good to marry her. So Yudah didn't want to take the chance, didn't want to lose his third son, so he told Tamar, go back home. So Tamar knew she had to draw certain souls into the world. So what did she do? Paragraph 189. So it says that she took off her widow's garb, because after her first and second husband died, she put on special, clothes of mourning and of a widow. She covered her face with a veil, wrapped herself up, sat down the entrance of Einayim, right, which also translates as the opening of the eyes, meaning where people can see her, which is on the road to Timnah. Why? She saw that Shelah, the third brother, was now older, and she wasn't given to him as a wife, meaning Yehuda didn't keep his promise. Come and see. Tamar bat Kohen Havat. The Zohar is now going to talk about the strange situation, because what did she do, by the way, right? So the verses say that she sat in this place, supposedly dressed as a prostitute. Yehuda came into town. Why did she do that? She saw that Yehuda was coming to town, so she wanted to seduce him and bear his children, because she saw that she's not going to have the children from Shelah. So she said, okay, then I have to have the child from Yehuda, from their father. He will help reincarnate these souls of his two sons, and he will help bring the soul of Mashiach. So the Zohar says that She was the daughter of a Kohen. She comes from the daughter of a priest, not like we know the priestly family of Aaron, but as we said, her father was Shem. Shem was a very elevated soul, like a priest, a master of Chesed. Could you ever for a second think that she would do something like go and prostitute herself to her father-in-law? It's to prostitute herself would be bad enough, but then to go and try and seduce her own father-in-law. How could we think that she was that she would do something so inappropriate? We know that she was a very modest and innocent and um, person. She was a righteous person. Why would she behave in that way that would seem in a negative or inappropriate way? Ela'ihi tzadeket havat. Rather, the Zohar says that she was a tzadeket. She was a righteous person. She was a tzaddik. U'chochma avdat hai. She did everything she did with wisdom, with divine inspiration. Daha'i la afrakat gama legabe. She knew with her divine inspiration that she was supposed to have these children. She knew that being with Yehuda would bring these children into the world, and therefore she went to him. She would not have gone to him. Yadat. She knew something. She saw with wisdom, she saw what would come from it. She wouldn't have done this thing. She wouldn't have put himself in front of her to do this. She wouldn't have done this seemingly negative thing if it wasn't for that. Therefore, she came to him in order to do good and justice, good and truth. And therefore, she went and she did this in order to bring down these souls. Now, if we don't already know, we will show this. But if we don't already know, the souls that came from their union, right? So it didn't happen with Shelah. So instead, she made it happen with Yehuda. And from their union came a pair of twins, uh, 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 Peretz, Zerach. Yeah, okay. So those two kids, Zerach and Peretz, come from their union. From Peretz, that's the line of King David, as we'll see. So from this strange, now we understand it wasn't just a thing of lust or revenge or whatever you might think. She was divinely guided to do this in order to bring light, to bring these special souls into the world and to help reincarnate the brothers, the children of Judah. Now we'll learn more, but everything of King David's soul, which is the soul of Mashiach, the soul of Messiah, you see it throughout history, it all happens in strange, mixed up ways. The first place we see this is with Lot and his two daughters. His two daughters seduce him, and they have the children who eventually will bring Ruth into the world, who is King David's great-grandmother, right? And then from this whole thing with Tamar and Yehuda comes Peretz, which is all the line of King David's fathers, like from from that side, right? It goes through his father. So both souls, and we'll see even how Ruth gets married. We'll see that as well. It's all part of this, the Creator's plan to bring in these special souls. So let's continue 190. Because she had this, she knew what was supposed to be. She made this effort to do this. It says that the Creator helped her in her endeavors. The Creator actually, it says that, I mean, okay, we understand her trying to seduce her father-in-law, but what kind of tzaddik, what kind of Yehuda, the son of Jacob, what kind of righteous person just sees a woman on the street and decides to sleep with her? What kind of tzaddik sleeps with a prostitute, right? So it's also strange the way Yehuda acted, but really it was the Creator. It says the Creator directed him to that, right? The Creator had him do that. And by the way, the sages teach that he actually did marry her. It wasn't just the spur of the moment type of thing. He actually had a proper marriage, and they did get married, but still he didn't really know who she was, because why would he marry his own daughter-in-law? That's why she veiled her face. He didn't see who she was. Uh, so the Creator assisted in this whole thing. V'it'avarat miyad, and she became pregnant immediately from their union. V'chol ahava minei, and everything was from him, from the Creator. It was all directed by the light. V'itema, if you want to ask, Amayla aite kuchabrichu inun benin meitata ochara. If the Creator, why would you might ask, why would the Creator not bring these two special souls in a different way? Why did it have to come in through this whole Amay Minda? Why from her? Why from Tamar? Why from this strange, weird, two kids die, marry the father secretly, looking like a prostitute? Ella rather, Vadai ihi itzterich elo vadada v'la itatacha. It had to be Tamar. It had to be her to do this. It couldn't be anyone else. It was her soul that would be the one who could draw these children in. Paragraph 191. There's two women. That from them the lineage of Judah is built upon. And from there comes King David, Ushlomo Malka, and King Solomon, Umalka Meshicha, and the King Messiah, who will come and end the pain and suffering and death in the world. These two women, they are one like the other. They're both equal in what they did, and they're both equal maybe in level and consciousness and soul. Tamar verut, the soul of Tamar, and the soul of Ruth. Demitu ba'alayhu bekadmeta ve'inun ishtadlu le'ovadada. That their husbands died, and they did what they had to do to bring the souls that would eventually bring the soul of Mashiach into the world. So these are the generations of Judah down to David, father to son. Tamar with Judah brought Peretz. Ruth with Boaz, Ruth's husband died also, and so she married Boaz to bring down the grandfather of King David. 191. Tamar ishtadlat legabe chamuha. Tamar, she approached her father-in-law, because he was the next of kin to his sons who died, and therefore that was the yibum, to help bring their souls and draw those souls into the world. Therefore he was able to help complete with that soul process. But why did she act this way? Why did she do that? Dichtiv kirata, as it says, she saw she saw that he grew up, the third brother grew up, and she wasn't given to him as a wife. Therefore, therefore she did what she did with her father-in-law to bring down the souls. We're over time, but should we just squeeze in a little bit more because we started a bit late? So this was the process. She knew she had to bring in a soul somehow, because she wasn't going to marry Shelah. She wasn't going to bring in the soul with Shelah. She had to bring in the souls with Yehuda. 193. Ruth mit Bala. Same thing with Ruth. Her husband died. And by the way, there are even, if I'm not mistaken, there are even some sources that explain that these two children, Er and Onan, while they reincarnated into the children of Yehuda and Tamar, I think I read that they also reincarnated into Machlon and Kilion. Machlon and Kilion were the children of Naomi in the story of the book of Ruth. So Naomi had two sons of their father, I think Avimelech. Naomi and Avimelech had two sons, Machlon and Kilion. They moved to Moab, and they married these two girls, Ruth and I forgot the name of her sister. Maybe it's Orpah. I don't remember. And they also died those two brothers also died that were married to the two sisters, and then Ruth had to go do yibum later on to reincarnate the soul of her husband. And I think I read that these two souls, Aaron and Nun, were incarnated into Machlon and Kilion as well. So that story, all the similarities continue. So when Ruth's husband died, so she went to marry Boaz to help continue the soul and actually bring the soul of Mashiach. So it says that her mother-in-law, Naomi, told her, go and approach him, go and lay by his feet, uncover his feet and lay down, which represents a marriage proposal back in the day. And Boaz, the whole story of the book of Ruth, he goes to the elders and he says, "Look, she wants to marry me. She's from she's the wife of my family. There's someone else who has a closer relationship. Let's see if he wants to marry her. If not, I will, and I'll bring these souls into the world." Ishtadla b'hadeh. She made this effort. She approached him. Ulevata oledat lo Oved, and so she later brought down the soul of Oved, right, which we saw in the lineage before. I don't want to lose our place, so we're not going to go back. Why didn't the soul of Oved, King David's grandfather, come from someone else? Rather, it had to be her, and it couldn't be anyone else. From the two of them, the lineage of Judah was built and perfected. And everything they did was proper and with holiness and with consciousness. To do good, act of kindness to those who have died, and to bring to the world's perfection afterwards. Let's just squeeze in one more because we'll finish this chapter, 194. And this is as we've explained in the verse, we read earlier in the verse that I praise the dead who have already died. We said this has to do with reincarnation. Because those, when they were alive, they had no praise, which means the husbands of Tamar and Ruth, when they were alive, they weren't worthy of praise because they didn't complete their purpose in their lives. And Ruth and Tamar, they both made the effort to do good, to do kindness with those souls, with the dead, to bring their souls back and to bring down the souls of Mashiach. And the Creator assisted them in the whole act. The Creator guided them the whole time to make that happen. And everything was as it should be. And the Zohar completes this chapter by saying, happy is the portion. Happy is the person who studies the Torah day and night, which means this whole concept began with connection to the Torah, connection to consciousness, being guided by the light, bringing light into this world. So it says, happy is the person who does that. As it says, as it says in the book of Joshua, study the Torah day and night, be connected both in the times of light and darkness, always connect to the consciousness of the Creator, so that you may observe faithfully what is written in it. You can live in accordance with the light, in affinity with the light. Only then will you prosper in your undertakings. So both Ruth and Naomi, Ruth and Tamar, were, because of their desire to bring light to the world, because of their spiritual connection, they were guided always by the light, and they helped bring in the soul of Mashiach. What would seem something dark and strange and immoral and inappropriate was actually guided by the light to bring in the souls at the end of the correction. Because great light always comes from concealment, always comes from darkness. We're going to stop here. Just a reminder, next class, Monday next week, we're going back to our usual time. So I'll see you then, and we're going to continue with chapter 19. So now we're shifting stories back to Joseph and his process in Egypt. Okay? Lots of love, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy the energy of the month of Capricorn and the month of Aquarius, and I'll see you on Monday. Thank you, guys. See you soon. Shabbat Shalom.